Another thing you can do in Ableton Live that you may or may not know about is you can make these tracks smaller here. You can just take them and just drag them over to the side like that. Boom. So, got that there. Cool. All right. Now, let's talk about some synthesizer stuff. Let's go ahead and grab some synth stuff in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here and let's make some synth sounds. Now, let's say somebody comes over to my house and they have a synthesizer that I don't have, some kind of analog synth or a hardware synth. And let's go ahead and throw in a synth to kind of emulate that. Let's use, oh, you know which one we liked? People talked about that they liked it was this, or was it? It was the, let me see in my audio units. It was the Sugar Bites Obscurium. That's the one, people liked that. That would be down here under the O's. Obscurium. And somebody in here yesterday was talking about OTT. You down with OTT? And so I went ahead and installed it. I haven't used it, but I installed it. So there it is. Anyway, so we have this. Here's my Obscurium. Let's go in here and let's grab, I don't know, whatever. Cool. Okay, this one's a really good one for showcasing how to do multi-sampling. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and we're going to make a new session here real quick and we can pull it back in. What I'm going to do, because I want to show you something with Ableton Live, how we can use over here on the left, we can dig into our current library and stuff like that. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to give this one name, let's call it O2. And I'm going to do another save as here. I'm going to call this one just Obscurium loop synth sample. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and get rid of all the other sounds for now. I'm going to delete all my other tracks. Boop. So now I have this, and I have this, and I've got my so I've got that there, and now what I want to do is I want to sample this. So let's just go ahead and sample this real quick, and I just want to show you something. So I'm going to make another track here, and we're going to call this one Obscurium Discant Sample. And I'm going to go here, and my audio from, I'm going to set it up to go from the Obscurium here, and we're going to go post effects. Cool. I'm going to hit record. I'm going to play it. Just make sure because it glitched on mine a little bit. Okay, cool. All right, so I got that. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that off for a second. That seems fine. All right. So 1 to 1. I'll put my loop here and this. So I'm just going to go ahead and crop it inside of Ableton Live. Right click, crop. There we go. So now I've got this sample, and I'm going to go ahead and throw that into, let's put it into Kontakt so we can see what we're doing more easily. Go in here, go to Kontakt. I'm going to drag it in. It goes into Kontakt. Boom. So there we go. So now I've got this in Kontakt. If I go to my mapping editor, we can see, if I hit record on it, okay. So we have that there, and I can go ahead and loop it with my wave editor. And I'm going to use, remember we talked about yesterday, we talked about the grid in the wave editor. So I go down here, turn on my grid. My BPM is 80. Yep, good. And I'm just going to set my loop here. So now, and it loops, and it sounds fine. Now, but what happens when I move off of my root note? Right now I'm just on my C root note here. What happens when I move to a different pitch? Well, let's listen. Let's go up to a G. What do you think is going to happen? Slower or faster? Is it going to go slower or faster? Let's hear it. Right? Well, if we're going up to the G, it's going to go faster, right? And then down, right? It goes slower, okay? Now, what if I want that sound? Oh, sorry, no, I was going up. Yep. So what if I want that sound to be the same speed on all the keys, right? Well, I could use my sample engine we talked about yesterday. I can use my sample Time Machine Pro, and now we can hear. Right? And you can hear, and it sounds good. I mean, for what it's doing, it sounds great, but it doesn't sound perfect. So if I wanted a perfect recreation of the synth over a few different keys, I have to actually record those keys. And that's multi-sampling, like we talked about yesterday. Well, what I want to do is I want to show you a trick for how to do that with synthesizers. What I'm going to show you right now is not going to work for acoustic instruments. It has to be something that you actually have set up, that you can set up MIDI for. So you have to be able to trigger MIDI notes. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing now. And this is actually in the notes over here. Where is it? Where's my notes? In the resampling part. Okay, and this resampling. Oh wait, not this one. Is it this one? Oh, actually, I don't think it's this one. This is basically what I just was doing all for the first part of class. Let's go here. See, maybe it's not in here. Oh, it's right here, yeah. Yeah, it's in number 39, lesson 39, sampling 2, under creating multi-samples. So all the stuff in here talks about slice to new MIDI. This is what we had done earlier today. And then here, creating multi-samples. So this is a couple things when you're creating multi-samples. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up MIDI to trigger the synth for us. So a couple things is make sure to capture all the samples you think you'll need. So record enough pitches, record enough volume levels, record enough playing styles or whatever. It depends on what you're doing. But in our case, we just want to make sure we get enough pitches. So if I think I'm going to play it high or low or whatever, I should kind of know that going into it. Where does this sound best in which pitch? I recommend, if you're doing this for real, make a list before you go to the studio. So if you're recording like an acoustic instrument, like let's say you're recording some kind of weird piano or something, and you only have access to it for 5 hours in one day, then you got to make sure you have a nice list. So as soon as you get to the studio, you're just recording, checking things off that list. Check. A good thing to kind of compare this to would be to making a movie. for those of you, I don't know who in here has ever like done any kind of movie stuff, or if you've like researched about how they make movies. But one of the things they have is they have a storyboard, and the storyboard is just a list. It's just a visual representation of every single shot they're gonna shoot in the film. And that's because before they go in, they set up the cameras and stuff. They have to know exactly what they're gonna need, what lights they're gonna need, what like angles they're gonna need, what they're gonna have, they need something behind it or whatever. And the easiest way to do that is to have it drawn out. So every movie you watch has a whole bunch of pictures for every single shot that you see in the movie has a picture associated with that shot at some point. And that's kind of something you need to do for this as well. Before you go into the studio, make sure you have a list of all the different sounds that you want to sample from that instrument. Okay? Organize the samples, label them, put them in the proper folder in your hard drive. That's what we started off the lesson talking about. Okay? So we want to choose the sound we want to sample, which is what we did. We're going to create a MIDI clip, and we're going to have like some notes, and they're going to be 2 or 3 semitones apart. So in here, I've got this sample here, and we loaded it into Kontakt. That's what it is, but what we're going to do is we're going to start over with that. We're going to go over here to our original sound and click on this. Okay. I like this as a bass sound, actually. Yeah, I think actually I like it like this. I'm not a huge fan of that reverb on there. Hear that reverb? I don't want the reverb. Get rid of the reverb. How do we get rid of the reverb? Sound. Pitch, clock. I don't remember how we get rid of that reverb. There's a oh, here it is, reverb. Ah, much better. Yeah, so much cooler. The chorus is okay. But I'm going to turn the chorus off as well, so I can just put my own chorus on it later. All right, so we got that. Let's go ahead and okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 1-bar note. Oh, the other thing with this sound is I don't need it to have that release. So let's go to my amp envelope. I guess there's no real way to get rid of that. That's okay. So I can always chop that later pretty easily. So I got this here, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. Let's duplicate it a few times. And I'm going to go ahead and each one of these, wait, hold on, wait, that's not the way I wanted to do it. Let's give a space. Yeah, let's make a measure between each one. There we go. And now let's duplicate it a bunch of times. Cool. Probably don't need that many. Yeah, let's do 32. All right, so now, maybe we'll need that many. I'm going to go up 2 semitones for each note. And I'm just holding down Shift and clicking. Actually, I'll just record all the white keys. And the reason why I'm doing this, I'm not doing every single note because really I can actually use some magic to do the between notes. Because it's only a semitone, so it's not that big a deal. And it should sound pretty good. There we go. Get rid of this. And move this over, boom. Cool. So now I have a whole bunch of notes over 2 octaves, up to C3. Yeah, so that's like the full length of my keyboard right here. That's a pretty good range. And now, what I could do, if I was doing this with an analog synth, what I would do is I would record it into this over here, and I just have to listen to everything. So I'd hit record over here, and hit go here. And now, and I have to do everyone by listening to it. Right? And that's fine. You just have to listen to it, and you have to, it just takes time. But I don't really need to do that because it's all just self synths. So what I can do instead of that is I'll just do a freeze and flatten. So I'll right click and go freeze track. And I'm going to go flatten track. And it just turned everything into audio. Now, one thing that Ableton Live does when you freeze and flatten is it does the loop twice, so it can catch any kind of tail or anything like that on the end of the loop. We don't need to do that. So, well, let me just grab the beginning of that here. I'll do it like that, yeah. Cool. We don't need to do that, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop this. I'm just going to crop it. Boop. So it's only the one time through. And now I'm going to name each one of these C1. And I named it C1. That's the MIDI, that's the name for it on the keyboard here. C1, D1, E1, F1, like that. So C1 here. Wait, let me go ahead and give this a 2-bar loop. No, let's give it a 1. Let's do it like this. Well, I'm going to do it like this just to keep things a little bit easy. And now, go through and rename it, and then move it around. Now, this part is time consuming, that is for sure, but you have to do it. So it helps if I remember what notes I played. That's why I just kept it to the white keys on the piano to make things easier for me. And I'm just going to go through and do this. Now, if I was doing this with the external keyboard, if I recorded in, I would have to do the same thing. I would just have to do the recording part as well. Oops. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Yep. Cool. So I have to go through and do this, and yeah, I mean, this is certainly boring, but I know some people who love sampling things because I think they love like preserving old instruments, and they just love using and hearing old instruments. There's a company called Samples from Mars, which is they just make sample libraries. They're in Brooklyn, and their stuff's good too. They have a good collection of sounds. The stuff's really, really cool. The guy has a really nice studio right in Williamsburg. I highly G, A, B, C. I highly recommend looking up their sounds and getting their sample libraries. Boom. Okay, so now I got all these, and now all I have to do is hold down Shift and select all of them, and then right click and go crop clips. Crop them, boom. And now I've got all these individual samples here. So if I go through and I look at them all, you can see all the individual samples, and you can see how the waveforms change if I click through them. So here, see how these waveforms are changing? Yep, that's all the different sounds. Now I'm just going to make a new Kontakt instrument. Oh. Drag the first one in. Boop. Open it up here. Go to my mapping editor. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the endpoints here. And now all these other ones, I'm going to drag them in. It might not, well, it should work. Whatever, I'll drag them in one at a time. It's not that big a deal. Now, one thing I want you to notice about my screen here is if I move my mouse up when I'm dragging it in, the key range is wider. This is a Kontakt thing. This doesn't do this in any other sampler. Well, not that I know of. I just use Kontakt, so boom, there we go. And B, cool. This is pretty fun, right? I'm digging it. Oh, you know what? These are all, move them down, there we go. So they're in the right notes. Cool. Moving these in here like this. Drag this in. I'm just going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. And now what I'm going to do for each one is I'll just grab these and move them around like this. Boom. And you can decide if you want to drag them up or down. Like if, for example, with these here, you might like it better, the sound-wise, if I actually drag it down and go like this. And you should check it out and listen to it. So my first octave is dragged up. My second octave is dragged down. So now, if I go in here to my sampler and I play it, there we go. And it's exactly now. So I can go ahead and play this in. And so you can hear when I play the black keys, the sharps and flats, you can hear it moving off. So what I would do with these is change my source here to be Time Machine Pro. And it will eat up more of my CPU, but actually it'll end up sounding pretty much better. So if I go ahead and hit record play, Right? And you can hear it sounds great. So that's how you would resample a synth like this. And all the stuff that we talked about is all in the notes today. I didn't really refer to the notes too much during class, but it's all in the notes. It's all the stuff we talked about is in the notes. Like how to route things and like how to like effects ideas to put on and stuff like that. It is very, very cool. So what kind of questions? I think Noli, I think you had some questions. We have about 15, 20 minutes or so. And I'm just wondering, like, what kind of questions do y'all have about this stuff? I've got some more things I can talk about for sure. I can talk about sampling all day, and maybe we can mess around with some other loops and things like that. But before I get too far, like, you know, at the end of the lesson and run out of time completely, just want to make sure there's not any kind of like questions that y'all have been like, you know, sitting there going, I really want to talk about this. I really want to talk about it. Okay, so Kishan says, if you wanted to sample keys on a piano with different velocities, would you program different velocities of a note to a single MIDI key? So the thing is that you, like, pianos don't have MIDI, most of them. So they do make some pianos that do have MIDI, but most pianos, if you wanted to record it, it's not going to have MIDI. So velocities is not a thing. I'm not sure how companies like Native Instruments and stuff, how they do their piano sampling. I don't know if they have some kind of a machine that they hook up to the piano that plays the notes for them. So wait, you say you mean raw recordings. If you wanted to resample keys on a piano with different velocities, could you program different velocities of a note to a single MIDI key? You mean, I think what you're asking about is velocity zones, right? So for example, if I go in here and I have let's get a synth in here that has some velocity stuff going on. Let's get a piano here. I'll just use a piano in Kontakt and I'll just sample it. So here, let's go to Kontakt and go in here and let's get the Alicia's Keys piano. And I'll just record one octave here, but I'll record that octave with multiple velocities for the notes. And once again, I'll just do one bar for each one. What I'll do is go ahead and just do that. So duplicate this. Okay, so there's 8 notes. So here's this. Now, these ones, let's put these down to a velocity. If see up top of my screen up here, when I hold down my command key, you see that number that's up at the top of the thing there? It's moving up and down. That's my velocity. So if I program this into a really like soft velocity, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, and now this one, I'm going to make it into a harder velocity. And then I'm going to duplicate it again. Oops. Oops, hold on a second, I'm going to get a harder velocity again. Let's do it one more time with still a harder velocity all the way up. So now, yeah, I know. That's what I think that's what you meant. But what I'm saying is there's no way to do that like this, because that's like, there's no, like, yeah, like this is the only way I can show that. Like, unfortunately, this is like the closest thing I can show that to you, because otherwise, like, you're just playing it like that. But this is a way I can actually show you, and I can show you how to map it onto the keys in Kontakt once you've done that first part, which is not something I can do here, unfortunately. So we have this here, this is 1 octave, and so you can see I've got 4 different MIDI groups going. I've got 4 different velocity groups going on, right? So I've got this one here, which is really soft, and this one here, which is medium soft, and this one here, which is medium hard, and this one here, which is really hard velocities. And so what we're going to do is we're going to call this one piano. And I'm going to go ahead and freeze and flatten it. Wait for it to do its thing. Freeze and flatten. Boom. And now you can see, once again, it doubled it up, because it always does that. So I'm just going to go back here and crop this. There we go. Okay, so now I've got this first group of 8. And I've got the second group of 8. And the third group of 8. Yep. And the fourth group of 8. Cool. And this is Val 1. This is like soft. Let's use classical terms, shall we? Piano. Oh, no, let's just use P. And then MP. And then MF. And then F. Cool. And now, with this one, I'm going to move these over like this. I'm just organizing it right now. There we go. So each note, this is P, C, whatever, C. This is P, D. Boop. Move it over, and then this is PE. Insert dad joke. And then PG. Insert another dad joke. Oh, RJ's not falling for the bait. I see how it is. PB. And then PC. So now we have this one. Now I'm going to go here for the MP ones. Oops. So the MP. Cool. So MP, and again, we're going to go MPC. And this is like, I mean, this kind of stuff. Oh, I see how it is, right? Your internet's, yeah. It's a good reason to upgrade that internet there. BF. And you go through A, B. I feel like, oh, because I didn't. This beat right here. I know, right? What, with the echo? What? It's a good beat, right? Thanks, I'm glad you approve, Kilo. I feel like Kilo hasn't really been here for the past like 10 minutes, so he doesn't know what we're doing here. Am I right? Am I right? So now we got this. Hey man, making beats isn't always about making beats. Sometimes it's about doing things that make the beats dope, but aren't actually beats themselves. Know what I'm saying? Somehow we made these shorter and shorter and shorter. I'm not sure what happened, but anyway, whatever. Okay, you've been here watching. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I like that. C, D, E. Whew. F. Almost. We're almost there. Just stay on target. Stay on target. Almost there. The beat is only as good as the work you put into making it. I like to think so. All right, so now I have all of these samples, and I'm going to go ahead and crop them all. Highlight them all, hit right click, and go crop, broop, and it crops them. And so now they should all be individual notes, and they are. Yay, all these, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, you caught that, huh? I didn't see you type anything, so I wasn't sure if you got that. I thought I was on my own with that one. All right, cool. All right, so we got all these. Now what we'll do is make another Kontakt, throw it in here. And so this is gonna be a little bit different. So what we're gonna do here now is, let's put it over here. I'm gonna put in the piano one. And we're going to go to the mapping editor, and I'm going to put this across here like this. What notes are we on? I don't even remember what notes these are. We're just going to call it C2. Move it down to C2. So we got that. And I'm not going to bother moving over to the black keys and stuff like that. I'm going to just keep them on the white keys here. Oops, let me not move my keyboard. So now I'm just going to drag these in like this. Boop. And if I was really being fancy, I would make separate groups for all of these, but I'm not really going to be, I'm not going to worry about being that fancy. I'm like, and you know, this is enough like busy work. Nolly, did you bounce? I thought you had some questions for me. Didn't you ask me something at the beginning? So now what I can do here is Oh, let's put these here on the next octave up. Actually, did you have some questions for me about sampling stuff, or did we already answer them in the beginning of everything? You did ask me a question in the beginning. I forget what it is though. I guess I can go back through the chat group and see what you asked me. Man, that's how I wish my memory worked. I wish I just had like a microchip, like a memory backup in my brain, so I could just be like, hold on a second, let me just remember what we just talked about. Oh, that's what it was. Cool. Why can't we have that? Why can't I have that yet? They're not going to have it by the time I'm dead. All right, so here's this. Now what I'm going to do is go get the vaccine. Now how to get your samples into like a pack I can play on my MIDI keyboard. I think, right, okay. Yeah, we can talk about it. So what I'm going to do here, see what I'm doing here on my screen is I'm going ahead and I'm changing the velocity layers of these. I'm going to put this up to like 40 here, and these ones, I'm going to change the velocity on the bottom part up to here. .41, boop. So these stop at 40, and these start at 41. And now, I'm going to drag them down like that. I'm going to put the top of these at 65, 64. These are probably off in terms of like weighting. Well, here, let's put these at 70. There we go. And now, these ones, drag these in, and put them over here. I'm just putting them up an octave right now so I can move them over later. This is probably one of the most boring things I've ever done in my whole life. I'm glad that I've made a video of this, and now when somebody asks me this question in the future, I'm going to be like, hold on, let me send you a link. Because this is not fun. Oh, talk about busy work. All right. So I'm going to change the bottom over here to 71. I'm going to move this down here. Oh, wait. I thought I told you to put you at 70. There we go. And the top ones here, I'm going to put these at 100. No, let's put them at 110. And then finally, these last ones here are going to go in and like this. Here we go. 111. Drag them down like this, and now, wait, where are we? Where are we on the keyboard? Kontakt. Let's hit some play. Okay, cool. So now if I play, actually probably I want to weight these a little bit different because these are pretty loud sounding. So let's put these up to more in the middle. Let's put these to 90. Let's put these medium ones to 89. There we go. So, see how that works? Did that help? If nothing, wow, cool was not the response I expected. The response, can this be done in Ableton Simpler? It cannot be done in Ableton Simpler. Ableton Simpler does not have the No, I believe you. I'm not doubting that you mean it at all. That's still not the response I expected. But it cannot be done in Ableton Simpler. Simpler is not multi-timbral, or not multi. It's not a multi-sampler, so you can't do multi-samples like this in Simpler. Now, well, it does. You can't do it in Pro Tools either. Pro Tools doesn't come with a sampler. Sorry. You need Kontakt or Sampler. You could do it in Sampler. It's easier to do in Kontakt than it is in Sampler, but you can't do it in Simpler. Now, Pro Tools has a sampler. Yeah, you have to show me. I mean, it comes with a multi-sample playback thing, but I didn't think Pro Tools came with a sampler. You could actually oh, you know what? It comes with they just started. That's right. They added one into the package more or less recently, right? Because you're not talking about the what is it? There's one it's had for a long time, but that was just sample playback. But then I think recently they added a sampler into the mix, like maybe 5 or 6 months ago, that I haven't messed with. So you're probably right, and I apologize. And Logic has the EXS24, EXS24 that can do basic multi-sampling as well. But there is here, let me just show you this. Let me see if I can find it actually. Let's see here. Synth multi-sampling software. There was software, Synth Preservation Society. Here we go. Is it this? Boop. Sample Robot. I do not think this is the one I was thinking about, but if it does it, Josh, you must be in John Sickett's class. I'm here, I showed up for the end. Yeah! Well, Kilo, I'm not 100% convinced that Pro Tools has, I mean, they've always had samplers, but let's see, Pro Tools multi samples, sampler, multi samples. Sample is structure free in Pro Tools. So is this the new one they have? No, it's from 2015. Structure, okay. So is this the one they've always had? Use of cookies, yes, I agree. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've never looked into this. You use sample sale, Kontakt, and EXS24 sound libraries. Cool, awesome. And which sampler does GarageBand come with? Is there a sampler in GarageBand? On your iPad? I don't want the iPad. Or are you talking about the iPad? Huh. All right, y'all, just calm down there. GarageBand has a sampler. I know you just said that, but I'm just trying to see what's the name of it. I don't, whatever. I'm over it. But yeah, cool. Thank you for letting me know about that sampler in Pro Tools, because I've been this whole time thinking Pro Tools didn't have a sampler because I've never used it. Right. Anyway, that's what's up for today. Lots of good stuff going on. Yay. All right, so I have a lesson in here that was saying, DJ with Ableton Live. We're going to go over this tomorrow, and we're going to talk about getting samples out of songs and stuff, which we didn't talk about today. So we're going to go into grabbing samples out of songs tomorrow, and then more synthesis stuff. If you have any questions about synthesizers, we can go through some more synths. I just realized we never did end up talking about other plugins and stuff. So talk about tomorrow. More synths, synth plugins, and effects plugins. And what else? Let's see here, sampling. We could talk about sample libraries as well, because I have a bunch of those. DJing with Ableton Live. How to set it up. Not doing. Setting up. DJing with Ableton Live. We could talk about that tomorrow. Modular synths and patching. Well, we talked about modular synths on Monday. Weren't you? Wait. Oh, wait, did we talk about modular synths on Monday? I guess, yeah, I thought we did. But yeah, we can go back into it a little bit more if there's other people who want to talk about it. But we did talk about it on Monday. Setting up DJing with Ableton Live. Oh yeah, so we can go over it again. We can touch it again. Warping tracks. Teaching. List of things to do tomorrow. Yep, just get into it more in depth. Yep, sure, that's possible. I'm down. Oh yeah. Hold on a second, let me mute. Nice. Cool. And then, wait, did I answer your question, Noli? Just about how to get your samples into like a pack you can play on your MIDI keyboard. Well, that's basically what I was just showing you here at the end. You're not going to be able to play them on your MIDI. Like, be careful how you say that, Noli. You're not going to be able to get them on your MIDI keyboard. They're going to be on your computer, and you're going to trigger them with your MIDI keyboard. And that's basically using Kontakt and drum racks. If you're using drum samples, drum racks. Oh yeah, the GarageBand AU sampler. Yeah, you know what? I've never used that because I've always had Kontakt. So, but if you're using drums, drum rack. If you're using Ableton Live, if you're doing synthesizer stuff, you know, you could use Simpler or well, you don't have Sampler, but Simpler for basic things, and then Kontakt. But yeah, be careful how you phrase that, because they're not going to be in your controller. They're still on your computer. You're just triggering them with your controller. And I hope that helps a little bit with answering your question. And it's all the stuff we've been talking about today and yesterday. So you can just go through all that stuff again. And also, we want to talk about simpler, advanced usage. There we go. What do they call it in simpler? Well, I'll figure it out tomorrow. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, let's stop the video there. Let's stop there. And yeah. And see you back here tomorrow at 2 p.m. All right. Everybody, I hope you're staying sane. Maybe, finish those video games that you've always wanted to play and finish. I was thinking about getting a Twitch. But not a Twitch. Sorry, what did I say? Thinking about